welcome to the 6th BeamG podcast episode. Today let's talk briefly on plot versus character. Some people say they don't like plot. For some of these people, plot is almost like a dirty word. They prefer their stories to concentrate on character or on language. It's action movies or thrillers by Michael Crichton or Robert Ludlum that have plots. Now we at BeamG believe that the 4 pillars that hold up a story are plot, character, language and meaning, with conflict as girders. Of course there are other elements that go into stories, but these 4 are essential. Every story, no matter how good or bad, exhibits these 4 pillars. No story can really go without any one of them, not to mention aspects like story world or backstory or exposition or change or transformation, many other things. We have not found a single work of fiction in any medium or genre that does not have a plot of some sort. Ulysses, of course, has a plot. The Sound and the Fury has a plot. Even some of the most famous attempts in literary history to shun plot, such as I Am a Cat by Suseki Natsume or Tristram Shandy by Lawrence Stern, did not manage to avoid describing events and characters. Their language might be beautiful, and to an extent their premise is the attempt to shun plot, but nonetheless, the stories describe events. Things happen in an order. The authors made conscious decisions about the sequence in which to relate the occurrences. To what degree the narrative is structured may be a topic for debate, but if we consider plot to be a sequence of events, then no story can go entirely without it and still be considered a story. Now, there is some sort of plot going on there. There's something happening. Whether it's structured or not is another matter. So there's an intimate relationship between characters and the events in which they take part. Indeed, it might be fair to suggest that in storytelling the two are not really separate entities at all. They are 2 sides of the same coin, if you will. The actions of the character make the action of the story, i.e., the plot. It is the decisions the characters make that determine their actions. Characters and plot events make story. The one couldn't exist without the other. Plot doesn't work if there are no people, or rabbits, or robots, or whatever, to make the decisions and perform the deeds that combine to make the story. There can be no events without characters to perform, or at least experience them. If the narrative describes purely the sequence of, say, natural events, be it the eruption of a volcano or the growth of a flower, then you're probably reading a report. If in a story these entities, the volcano or the flower, act of their own volition, then they do so as characters, and thus do motivated things. More usually, such occurrences are not intrinsically motivated as characters with volition, but they are events that occur dramaturgically, because they cause a response in the characters that experience them. As exciting as a volcanic eruption might be, it is the response to it in the characters that makes the events interesting to the reader or the audience. The overall effect of these 2 elements of story, character and plot, causes the audience to look for some kind of a meaning to the story. And in order for the audience to experience the story, it must be conveyed in the language of a particular medium, so text in the case of novels, moving images, and sound in the case of films. But there's no avoiding plot. There's no avoiding characters either. Characters drive story, events drive narrative. Developing story material means growing a narrative out of an idea. You might start with an idea for a character, or begin with a plot event idea, that is, an idea for a scene. If you start with an event, then you immediately ask yourself, who is taking part in this scene? Who is performing the action and why? If you start with a character, perhaps you see this figure in your mind's eye, then you immediately start asking yourself, what is this person doing? Which confrontations arise because of this character's actions? Which forces motivate the character to do what she does? So there's no way to consider plot without character, and there's no way to consider character without plot. Thanks for listening.